Good morning. Our hand today is going to be Ace King offsuit. I'm under the gun, open raise, 3 big blinds. It's my early position raise. Comes back, villain calls. Villain's playing 46-9, he's playing very loose. 50% VPIP. In pre-flop, he's called 64%. Called any 3-bet, 1 out of 1, called the squeeze, 1 out of 1. This is basically, I think if he's got anything decent, he's going to call. So I've got a pretty wide range here. I do have 3-bet stat. 3-bet range is queens. And note that we do have, call 2-bet from blinds. I've got a queen 7, I've got 9-7, got king 9, got some of these weak offsuit hands. So if we have the weak offsuit hands here, like queen 7, he's going to be doing queen 8, queen 9, and so forth. So pretty wide range. Flop comes out king jack 9. I've got ace of hearts with top pair, and villain donks leads pot. That was a little odd, a little unusual. And I called. Now, what could he be doing this with? I kind of think maybe like a king. Maybe king queen, maybe like a king little. King 4, king 5, kind of see where he's at. Maybe like a jack, jack 10, jack queen. Again, kind of see, do I have the king or whatever. 9 comes out, and then he sizes a little bit down. I think this is a little suspicious, and I think at this point I probably should have just folded and said, you know what, I must be against the 9 here. So also, he could have done this with like a 9. Again, he's leading out to see where he stands. And then now that he sized down, it just seems suspicious. But I still called. And then 2 of clubs, and he leads the pot. And again, 3 times, my 1 pair is beat. I know this. I should have folded. I didn't. I called. So we're going to get to see what he plays. And I'm just curious. I'm pretty certain my play is not GTO. I did consider raising on the flop when he led into me. So I want to see kind of what percentage GTO suggests I should be doing that. And then also I'm curious about his play. How bad was it? Because I don't really think you're supposed to be leading like this all the time. So let's check out GTO. All right, so right from the get-go, villain's got this massive range, and he's really only supposed to be leading out, like maybe 2%. Small percentage of the time. You can see it's a range of hands. Queen 10, jacks, king jacks, ace 10, queen 10, queen 5, bluff, mixture of bluffs and some okay hands, but mostly this should be a check. So he bets. Once he bets, then what are we doing? I've got ace of hearts, king of clubs. Ace of hearts, king of clubs is mostly calling, and this is kind of what I thought. I thought we would be mostly calling unless we had trips. And it's kind of interesting that most, it's not. It is basically all trips. 9s, jacks, and kings are going to be the hands that have the highest raising frequency. We shouldn't have queen 10 in our range, but that doesn't mean villain doesn't know that. So we just kind of have to remember that aspect of it. So it looks like we're just calling here. So I did call, which I think was, I guess that's it. That's a good play. So right now against a GTO player, we're just calling. All right, so then villain bets again. Now once he bets one time, he should be betting again, and we can kind of see that it is just like really small frequencies, just across the board. He doesn't have many hands. Just total combos. You can see almost 12 combos total. He's going to be betting with 6 and then calling with checking with 5. So he bets, and now you can see that I'm still calling with like hearts. And I'm calling a little bit with like 7-8. Yeah, 7-8 hearts, 7-6. I can start to fold. So the 7-8 of hearts, I think we're doing it for some blockers. So if you have like a lone 10, that right? Nah, I guess it wouldn't be a lone 10. 10-7 maybe. Or yeah, 10-7. I think we've got some blockers here with the 8-7. We blocked the 8, we blocked the 7, but I don't think that's going to be super important. I think we're calling here because of the heart draw. 9-8, sometimes raising, but again, mostly calling jacks. Again, if we call with jacks, we can raise with them here, but with nines, we're just calling. So, and our ace king, you can see it should be a fold. Ace hearts, king clubs, mostly a fold here. So then 2 clubs hits, which is probably a little bit better for me than the 2 hearts. So he leads out again, 65%. Again, at this point, he's got 6 combos. He should be betting with 4, checking with 2. His combos just keep dropping. He should not have many combos at all. And you can see, most common one will be a straight. So he bets again, and at this point, yeah, I shouldn't have called at all. I should have folded. And I guess that makes my turn call not as bad as I was expecting it, but the river call was bad. I should have just folded the river and said, you know what, he's 3 streets of value. He's got it. So what did he have? 9-7 offsuit. So he had the 9, and that kind of explains his play here. He sized down a little bit once he tripped up, just trying to be tricky. And then on the river, missed the heart draw. The only thing, I guess he could be scared of, like ace-9, or trips, nines, jacks, trips. I should say full house at that point. King's full and jack's full, but I didn't raise or anything, so this could have been a great hand to just call down versus this player, if I had pocket kings or pocket jacks. All right, so we can see that by the time he got to this spot, he had 9-7 off, and he had 0.066 combos, and he had 9 of clubs, 7 of hearts. So that's not even in the range. And I'm sure which 9, which 7 he had is the heart is probably random. It's just based on frequencies. So I don't think he played according to GTO and really just kind of fell off right at this point. So let's change this and say, okay, well, he bet with a 9. So he bet with all of these. And would he donk with all of them? Yeah. Ace-9's a question mark whether he would have bet that high with ace-9. We'll give him the benefit of the count. We'll say 10s he would have done that with, and those pocket pairs. So we got the weak pairs figured out. If he did it with 9s, I'm going to say he's probably doing it with his second pairs. And then for top pair, we're not going to do like king, queen, 10, but we are going to do these, the low kickers, as the leads. All right, so let's solve this and we will be back. Solver's complete. So we've got it set up. Hands that he was betting here, he bets, and then it does look like versus that donk, I should be just raising, and I should be raising relentlessly. He's got a lot of weak hands, and I knew that he's got a lot of weak hands. I should challenge him. If I raise, what hands does he call? I'm sure he probably calls a 9, but I kind of think Jackson and his jacks and his 9s will fold. If they don't, we make a note of it. They let into us, and then they called with bottom pair, and I think at that point, you know, here I'm raising 16. Say he calls, he's should check to me again, and then I'm supposed to be betting again. Now I could bet 19, which is half pot, and it's possible that he raises. We'll say he calls, and then if he checks to me again, I'm still betting. Based if he plays that way and he raises, and then I fold. So yeah, versus that donk raise, I should be just, or his donk bet, I should be raising it at this point. So I think this was just a bad hand, a bad play on my part. Nothing was fine. I mean, it's now that we know he can do it with 9-7. We should be raising. What if he doesn't? Let's do like a more typical player. So I don't think they typically would bet those weak hands, like the nines. Not even sure the jacks. I think a typical player would do the kings. So let's run this solver and see if he's a typical player and really only donks with those kings with the low kicker. Is my play still to raise? My guess is yes, but we'll check the solver. All right, change of game plan here. So he's only going to lead if he's got the king with the weak kicker, because he wants to see, do I have a king? So he bets, still just raising. And that really kind of looks like it. Versus GTO, there is a small percentage of time that the players can donk, and we recognize that he does that, so we kind of play accordingly, realizing that he's going to have a mix of strong hands in there. But versus a player who tends to donk with like weaker hands, it's looking like we should have just raised. So that was a big screw up. So screw up number one, not raising that donk bet, probably wouldn't have been in the situation. And then problem number two, once I did get in the situation, that river bet was just, I needed a fold. Probably could have folded on the turn. Looks like GTO was suggesting we still call though, and then we fold to his river bet. But still, calling was incorrect. So hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another hand.